10
So I
o'clock.
retired. Oh, I gotta hit the OK button. Um, Retired December 1st. So this is the first Zoom meeting I've had in like almost 4 months.
Oh, good for you. Good
Yeah,
for you.
I didn't miss it at all.
I, to tell you the truth, I'm happier doing these meetings um, than all the traveling I used to have to do to be at places. So I'm a happy Zoomer. I'm okay with it. But it would be hard if it was like your whole job. That'd be a pain. But so I'm going to give you some advice and kind of show you step by step how to go through the Meetup site and um just post hikes. So let's do the mechanics of what is happening on the Meetup site. Pause, stop it. There's my share button. All right. So we'll go from let's use Hartford Area Hiking as our basis. And then we'll also go into the Sierra Club and I'll give you some advice on that.
Okay.
So this is the homepage for Hartford Area Hiking, and it gives you some choices down here um, about create an event, manage the group. Then it's got all these other buttons here about like the about, the events, the members, photos, discussions. So I like to look at full calendars. To me, it's easier, and it's easier because I'll plan out a couple weeks in advance. Um, So if you look right now at the line listing, so it's got my Saturday hike at Mount Sanford,
Yeah.
my Sunday hike at West Peak, and then it goes to next weekend at Pagusset and then People's Forest. And usually that's about as far as it goes. Um, but as far as trying to plan stuff, and I know up here it says create an event. I'm going to show you an easier shortcut. Because if
Okay.
you create an event, then that means you have to do all the steps.
Okay.
So here's the
Yeah. So
easier way to do this. You
base
go
kind of.
to events,
Yeah.
and then once we click on events, it'll give you a list or a calendar. I like calendars. So I go to the
Okay.
calendar. So when I look down at the calendar, so here's everything that got offered this week. And when
For
you
for Hartford area hiking or free.
Hartford Area Hiking, this
Okay.
is the whole calendar. So Tom Burkholder um, did
Yeah.
a hike on Wednesday the 19th, so that's up there. So the ones that you attend will have a green check next to them. So of course these
Okay.
all have green checks because these are all things I posted. Yep. But they did take away um, something that I liked where you could go by the year. And so I could go all the way back to like 2020 just to remind myself, like, oh, where haven't I been in a while? Can't do that now. So right now, here's where we are right now, March 2025. So you can go back. So here's what was offered in February.
Okay.
Here's what was offered in January. Here's what was offered in December. So where I am right now, personally, because I'm beginning the training hikes, is I've gone all the way back to last March. Like,
Okay.
what in the heck did we do last March? Because I'm trying to remember. So,
If you were well trained or not.
well, I'm like, what, just to remind me of what's going on. So you can see here, like on the 10th, I offered Chauncey Peak and Lamentation. That's a great
Yep.
beginner hike.
Yep. Okay.
Because you can do just Chauncey Peak if you want to.
Yep.
So let's pretend we're gonna do this hike and we'll like create it, but we won't announce it.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna click on it and it's gonna bring up last year's hike. So in here, it gives you the date, the time. It's also going to show the map, and then this was my body of what's happening.
Okay.
We also have this legal thing
Yep.
that Kevin likes. Um, so I just leave it. It's no harm, no
Yep.
foul. And there are, if I've posted stuff that's older, I've had to go in and edit some of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
But then if you keep going down, it shows who went and then all the pictures from that day. And then
Okay.
all the comments that happened afterwards and everything. So let's say you're like, and you're like, I think I'm going to offer that. The picture's good, but I want to change what I'm going to say. So if you go over here to where it says copy event,
Yep.
it makes you a copy of it. Exactly. Except right now, it's going to give you some weird date, like to go do this.
Okay.
Um,
Like,
so
yeah.
it'll use the same title, but then you can click on this little calendar and
Yeah.
decide what date do you want to offer it and click on it. So let's say you're like, oh, I want to do an easy one on Saturday. The next thing that it's going to want you to do is pick a time. So when you click on this, if you click right on the number thing and you're like, yeah, I don't want to start till 11. So you make it 11 a.m. Then the next thing it wants to know is, well, how much time are you going to spend at this event? So, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I usually go to set time because if I know we're going to go do 8 miles, like we need 4 hours, and I'll
Yeah.
put in what time I think it's going to end. Okay. So, if you don't like that picture, go up here to this little arrow and it'll say remove picture. And then you have to move down, and then you can use one of your pictures. You can use something from the website. You can, like this is the one I put up last year, but maybe you save to your desktop one of the pictures from this
Like,
hike a year ago, and you make that be your picture.
yeah.
Um, I usually suggest that you don't put people in the picture. For a
Mhm.
while I was on this rant where all the pictures had me in it. I don't know why, but um, so now I just make sure that it just kind of shows the area.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So then when you get down here in this where this slider bar is, this is the body of what you're going to do. So you would just click in here if you're like, yeah, we don't need this part or whatever. You can edit this any way you want for what you
Okay,
want it
good.
to say. So you just change it any way you want it to be. Um, like for some of mine, like let's say I reuse a winter hike and I've got all this information about traction devices and layered clothing. So I got to get rid of all that because it's spring. So it's like, hey, make sure you're in layered clothing. It's going to be muddy, those kind of statements. Um, but because you've copied this, all of our disclaimer stuff, legal stuff, copies along with it. So you don't have to retype it. It's just there. So that
Okay.
part's cool. And then this has just been my thing, this items for every event. Um, you do not have to use it. It's just I started using it every time somebody did something goofy, it got added to the list. So that just became my blanket list for everything. So you go ahead and change that if you want to. So now when you scroll down, you're going to come to the map. And this is where I talk to people about I'm going to drop a pin. So you can edit the existing map. And basically, if you just click and drag, it'll put you wherever you want to put people. And that's why
Okay.
sometimes I joke to people and I say, sometimes I drop the pin like where I'm standing in a parking lot. Like I do that at Hubbard Park. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Bigelow Hollow is the same way. There's like several parking lots.
right. So you drop the pin where you know you're going to be, and then you can save it. Now, let's say you need to change the location. Then what you can do is hit change. And then I don't know why it's there's something going on with Meetup that the scroll thing is acting stupid. But you can tell it to search for a location. Sometimes like here it knows here old places that I've been. So it's like, oh, would you rather go here or do you want to go here? Um, and then if you select that and go back down to it, now it's where I drop the pin to go to Ragged Mountain.
Okay.
So if that's not the case, if you've got to put in something else, like when we did Macamudas there, I had to really look around to find the address or the name of the state park and kind of mess with the map a little bit to get to the right place. But again, you can
Okay.
tell I want to edit the pin and you just move it around wherever you want to put it
Can
and
you put
drop
in
it.
GPS in
Um,
there or no?
you can, yeah, you can put in GPS coordinates if you want.
Okay.
So if if you're changing something and you change it, and so I'm trying to think if you,
Would you go online and just do it in Google Maps and then bring it up over?
yeah, because this has Google Maps in it. So if let's say I want to go to Harvard Park, and it'll think about it for a minute. And a lot of times it will come up and say, I have no idea where you want to go. So sometimes you have to tell it what town it's in and what state it's in. Um, and then what I found it had to do, so it's still thinking about Hubbard Park in Meriden, Connecticut. Um, and I'm trying to think of where you put in the coordinates. Um, but see, it's thinking about
It's
where
just
this
nice
is.
to have. There's some hikes east of the river where it's not like a huge park. You park on the side of the road kind of thing.
Hmm. And so what you might have to do is, and I just want this to come up actually. Holyoke Range. Let me get rid of this one. I'll just show you another one, kind of like what you're talking about. Um, so let's say I select Mount Holyoke, which we'll go to in a couple weeks. Um, Again, you can tell it if you click into it, it goes
Yeah.
to Google Maps, but
Okay. And there's the
but you
G.
can't edit through the Google Map.
Oh, okay.
You can't do that. So you literally have to. I think I might have messed myself up here because I can't make this go away. Um, because if I want to, Zoom's good. Where's the thing I'm sharing? No, not that. Um, oh, I got all loopy now.
I guess you're going down a rabbit hole.
I
Sorry.
want that. No, I just want that one to go away. Um, oh, stop. Okay. So I just have to reshare. Um, what's the Zoom meeting? Yeah, I don't know why it's being weird tonight too about like where my stuff is. I think it might want to let me open stuff.
It's Monday.
Yeah, or that too. Mail. Let's see if it'll let me do this. And I know because I know if you, it used to have a cool feature where if we open stuff in tabs, it made life so much easier. Now it doesn't do that anymore. Because it, Meetup, and because now I'm trying to find.
Yep.
I don't want to. I don't want to share Zoom, you goober.
You're sharing your screen though.
I know I'm sharing, but that's not what I want. All right, so let's grab. Can you see that one where it says Pagasa?
Yep.
Okay, so um, let's say I wanted to edit this. So you can also do that too. If I come into this and I want to edit an event, I can mush everything around too.
Okay.
Um, so let's say I come down here and the map is being weird. Like, see, like right now that road ended and there's no pin here. I have to tell it I want to edit map pin. This is
Okay.
the only place that you can mess with the road. But like you said, what if I want everybody to park over here on this fire road? Then you can move it around and do that. And
Okay.
it
Okay.
also has the ability of, you can really zoom out because if you're like, well, I'm not sure if I'm at the right part, like you're saying east of the river, you're like, I'm not sure if that's the right park. I don't,
Yeah.
you can find it in, and then when you're like, oh yeah, we're in the right place. And then you
Okay.
can dial it back into where you want to be. Um, so like I said, I try to move everybody. exactly where I want them to be. Because people are so needy with
I was gonna say
the
stupid.
GPS stuff. It's so funny. Um, so we'll
No one
see.
knows how to use the app anymore.
Oh, I know that's so funny that we do that. That we totally do that. So I don't know what happened to our dummy thing that we were making, but it went away somewhere. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my calendar.
Yep.
Okay. So um again, you're welcome to look through and steal anything that thrills you. Um
Okay.
and like I said, okay, so like last Easter, I went to Penwood. Penwood's always a beginner hike. Um and again, you copy the event, then it becomes yours. You change the date, you change the time, you go into the body, you do whatever it is you want to do. Um, and I know, and some of these are older. Like it says, the old version of GPS, even though you told it Penwood, it would always take you to the wrong place.
Okay.
I don't think that's the thing now. So really read through,
Yeah, don't
any
assume.
of the stuff. But like I said, by stealing somebody else's stuff, it's got like our legal stuff in it, which makes life so much easier. Um, so once you get the pin where you want it to be, then just give them some information about what the vehicle is going to look like, as far as what are they looking for in the parking lot. Like
Yep.
my friend Al with this kayaking group, like he's always wearing an orange hat. So it'll be like, I'm the guy with the orange hat.
Okay.
So whatever, distinguishing features. Now, when we get down here at the bottom, you can ask a question because sometimes you'll see that where, especially on some of the bigger hikes, they'll want to know, like, have you hiked 10, like the one I did yesterday? Bill's question was, have you hiked 10 miles at a steady pace recently? And he wanted an answer from everybody. Um, you don't have to use it, but
Okay.
attendee limit, I always put a limit on things, only because it gets too crazy if, unless you want to be Charlie and the singles group or Dennis or whatever, where they allow 87 people to sign up. That's unmanageable if
Yeah.
you're going to be by yourself.
I'm thinking
Um,
more like 10.
yeah, you can do 10, you can do whatever you want. And I'll explain it to you why I don't allow guests, um, only because it's happened more than once. Somebody brings a guest, they don't have a meetup profile, and they're really not capable to do the event. And
Yeah,
then we
okay.
come into a problem. And this person is a guest. We're not legally bound to them, but they came, so you're kind of stuck dealing with them. So that makes it hard.
Okay.
Um, so I'm just a putz. I don't allow guests. And the other thing is there's been some issues in the past, um, where we don't know these people. And now there's somebody's guest. I mean, it happens rarely that somebody gets harassed or bothered by a guest, but it happens. But you can't track them because they're a guest. Whereas now, if somebody reports that Joe Schmo looked at him cross-eyed and touched him, I have a profile. I can report them. I can do stuff. Um, so that's kind of why I don't allow guests. Only because over the years, weird things have happened that I've had to take care of. Um, you can open or close your RSVPs. So, like, let's say if I'm going to do a hike and I know that I won't have cell phone reception in that area, I don't want people jumping on and off and I can't see it. So I might close the um, RSVPs at 6 a.m. so nobody can move, nobody can get off or on because I can't see it.
Okay.
Sometimes you want to open a time. Um, there's a couple of people would do this where they would make a draft, or no, they would it's almost like when you delay the the RSVP time, so people see it but they can't click on it until, if it's like noon on Wednesday, they can start signing up.
Oh,
um
okay.
I don't get that fussy about it. um And the other game you can play, which I do, is let's say you want to control who goes on the hike. What you do is if you go to attendee limit and you make it one, everybody goes on a wait list
Yeah. Okay.
until you move them over. Um, so what is good about that is especially like whenever I'm doing really aggressive stuff or and most people will joke because there's a gentleman over in Litchfield, Ramy, who basically just puts all his own friends on the hike. So we've always said to him, we're like, dude, why don't you just invite people with email? Like, why do you put up a meetup and then you don't let anybody on that you don't know? It's just, I don't know, it's weird. So,
You move people over. Will you show me that?
what?
How do you move people over?
Okay, so what'll happen is that when you go up to the people, I'll show you that too. Let me just turn this back. I'll go to one of my events that's going to run. Okay, so then I'll show you how to move people around. But then you tell it that you want to publish this. You're
Okay.
going to get another screen that's going to say, um, it's like, okay, you've been published, which means now you're on the calendar. So if you went and looked at that calendar, there's your event. Then
Okay.
it's going to ask you, do you want to announce it? So
Okay.
always just say yes. Because in the past I've forgotten. And I'm like, why isn't anybody signing up for my hike? It's because it never showed up in anybody's email. It's just floating on this calendar that nobody looks at. So just tell it, yep, announce it. And
Okay.
then you'll get an email. And then everybody else will get an email like, hey, there's a new event so that you can do that.
Okay.
Now, if we go to one of the ones, no, I don't want to start a new group. All right, so let's cancel. I don't want to save that as draft. And then we go back to, oh, and the other thing too, so if you're looking at an event, see over here where it says Hartford Area Hiking,
Yep.
right here in the middle. If you just click on that, it takes you back home.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah,
So so here's what something looks like when people have signed up for your hike. So I've got my crew. So right now, it shows you here, I've got 27 people going. I have 8 on the wait list.
okay.
So what I'll do is I'll click on somewhere around in here, and what it's going to show me is the list of who's going, who took themselves off the list, who's on the wait list. Okay. So if I click on going and scroll down, this is everybody. And I'm having a I got to send them a tech note because I get halfway down here and the scroll thing goes back up to the top. I don't know what's wrong. It's them.
Yeah.
It's not us. But these are all the people that I like put on. And then I can also check because sometimes I just get nosy. I'm like, well, who bailed? So these people took themselves off. Now, let's say you're doing the one thing because you want to control who goes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you go to the going list, the only person who's going to be on the list is you. You go over here to where it says wait list, and this shows you who's on the wait list right now. So if you want to move somebody over, there's 3 dots over here.
Yep.
See those? If I click on those, I can move them to not going, going, make them a host, or send them a message.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay.
that little drop down box. So again, if you have to say something to one of them, you can send a message from here. Um, or you can move them to going, or I know one of the gentlemen messed with us at Mount Hol yeah, Mount Holyoke Range a couple weeks ago, who told me I only hike 4 miles. He signed up for this one, which is a legit 7+, and he signed up for it. So I wrote him a nice message and I said, David, I don't think this event is you if you only hikes 4 miles. Never heard back from him, but I took him off. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
like you're not going.
Okay.
So That's where you can control those people. So if you do the one thing, they're all going to be sitting on the wait list.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the other thing that'll happen um, is you're going to start getting emails when people sign up. So when I go into my account, I'll go to old mails because I just cleared out my emails. But see how all these say meetup, 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 all my
Yep.
emails?
Yep.
This
I
is
get those now.
RSVP'd for everything. So this is because I also have 6 hikes up.
So you have to set up
So
rules, send them to a folder or something so it doesn't
I,
bog up your.
well, so what'll happen is it'll say, so like latest RSVPs. So it tells me that this person signed up. And then to get in, I go to the full RSVP list, takes me to the site, and then I scroll down and I see what the scoop is. Like, so on this one, I've got 26 going with 4 on the wait list. Um, and it'll give you, it's really weird. There's a delay. So you might just be curious and click in a whole bunch of times and see who's there, but it might take, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour. And then you'll get an email with like 8 people on it, like all at the same time. So that was one of
Okay.
the things that was kind of funky. So when I first post something, um, I remember when I posted these. K City. So this is my inbox, I mean my old mail box. Um, whenever I did this. But what was funny was once I posted it and went to Mount Sanford, then I get a message like, oh, okay, these 2 guys joined. And then, but it's just sort of funky because um, if there's really no rhyme or reason to it, like when you get these messages, it's kind of
I'm
weird.
sure there's got to be a way in there to turn them off if you don't really want them.
Well, you can, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't change my email thing like that because people will try to get in touch with you.
Okay.
And
It's
if they
all
can't, because you shut off your email notifications, it's a little bit of a problem.
okay.
Um, so this was from the hike we did last weekend at Ragged Mountain. So the other thing, when you go up here, across the top here, so you've got search for events, start a new group, connections, messages, notifications, and then what'll happen for you, like when I click on this and look at my head, I can see my events or my groups. I can also go to messages. So when I click
Okay.
into my messages, these are all the people, these are all my messages over here. Some
Okay.
I some I respond to, some I don't. Depends who it is. Or what they need. Sometimes they it's not a big urgent thing or whatever, but it'll also keep a chain going of every time you spoke to that person. Okay. So let's take a look just for the heck of it. So if I go to my groups, so it's got the 2 groups that I am in a leader for, and then it's got all the groups that I belong to. And again, people are like, why are you a member of this many groups?
I'm a lot of these only because I'm always looking for hikes.
Because I'm either stealing maps from other people or I want to make sure that the Connecticut New York group
Isn't
isn't
gonna.
at Black Rock the same day I am.
Uh,
So I'll go in and look at their calendar. All right, so if we go to the Sierra Club, so I clicked on them. So this is their main page, and he's got 53 leaders, and 3,800 members. So
14,000.
this, because Kevin won't clear out that cache. I keep asking him if we can, and he won't. So on Saturday, somebody is going to Lamentation and Chauncey Peak. So again, this hasn't happened yet. So you can't copy it, is the
Oh, okay.
deal. So you
Okay.
can't do this. But
You can't do a future. You can't copy a future
you
hike.
can't copy a future hike, but you can copy an old hike. So
Okay.
their stuff is going to look the same. I just want to find one of Ben's because he always uses all of Bill's stuff. Um, so if I go to the calendar, so let's see what Bear Round Mountain and Frizzell. Let's see what happened that day. Okay, so this was a Ben hike. So it says it'll say right up at the top, copy event. So if you wanted to go hike Bear Mountain and do a 12-mile hike with him, um, so some of this stuff is part of Bill's stuff.
Yeah.
So like, please cancel 24 hours. Hike if you feel confident. Somewhere down here, and then he's always got the thing about join the Sierra Club. Um, Ben doesn't do it as much, but Bill definitely does. He's got and you can copy back and forth. Like you can open up two other tabs and steal stuff from other hikes and put it into yours.
Yeah.
Because
Back on Buddhist, I have like what I had to type, and that seemed okay by Bill. So probably that's what I'm going to copy and paste into
yeah, you
everything.
can copy and paste one of his and edit it because he also has a paragraph in there that reads like we're volunteers. We're not professional guides. We're which I thought was great too. Um, Ben tends to um, use most of his stuff. These guys are big about bold letters and whatnot, and Ben also dumps hyperlinks into everything, um, which is fine because this way, you can just click on this and it'll take you to all trails if you want to post an all trails map. If you don't, and you want to just post a DOT map, you can do that. Or a deep map. If you just want people to have a paper map, totally up to you. So this is who went. These are the pictures that were taken that day. Um, so again, you can steal these pictures and make like a hiking folder and just dump in whatever pictures you want to change, whatever you want, you know. Um, but that's kind of what like a Sierra Club hike looks like. Let me find Bill's from the one we did yesterday with him because he's got that good paragraph in there that I like.
How's your training going?
How's my what?
Your training going?
Training?
Yeah, your training for
Training's
your.
training's lovely. We're just trying to walk as much as possible. So here's Bill's thing. Moderate to strenuous, how fast we were going to go, confident you can hike. He's got this thing about a medical condition and it says for difficult hikes, you'll be put on a wait list. We are volunteers, not professional guides, and weather trail conditions are unpredictable. So that's a Bill thing. Your responsibility to stay with the group. So, and then the pictures that, the stuff that we put up. So, but like I said, I've taken from multiple places before. The only thing is if you click out of something, it goes away. So I just open Meetup sometimes 3 or 4 times, and I'll have the calendar open and be looking through it. And then if I find something that I want to use, then I'll put it in another tab. So they're all independently open, but different from the thing I'm trying to create.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can copy and paste from anybody's stuff. Just depends on who you're leading with. But Bill's hikes, Ben's hikes. The only thing that I will say that is not cool is there's no way to search the calendars or the lists to my knowledge. If someone knows better, I would love for them to tell me. But when I go to the calendar, see how there's no real like search thing? And because
Yeah.
everybody calls things different, that you don't even know what to like, you can't, how in your emails you can search like Bob and it'll show you all the emails from Bob. This doesn't do that.
I wonder if there's a
So,
way. I wonder if there's a way to cut and paste it into Excel or Word, and then do a search on that.
see, I'm not sure. One thing I will give Ben credit for is in his title, he always puts in the mileage, which is great. But then in October, like someone just went to Case Mountain and Buckingham Reservoir. I know that was a Ken hike and I know it was 10 miles, but not everybody's going to say that. So you're going to spend some time, like you might see the title and
Yeah.
go, "Oh, that sounds fun." And then click on it and then realize that, "Oh, I've got to edit this, but I like the picture and I'll change the date and whatever." But you just have to
Can you
click around.
can you go over the list view? I know we're in calendar view right now, just so it's like I can see what it looks like.
Yep. So this is the list view for what's coming up right now. Um,
Also past and then
for
okay.
so not the past, but yeah, you can. You can do past events
And then
and
try to
it
search on.
goes from newest and just keeps working its way back.
Okay.
But it when you do that, it does reload and it keeps going. So there's your hike. And then but
Eh,
see how Ben's good because he puts the mileage in the
yeah,
name,
good.
which is great. You're like, oh, it's a Ben hike. I'm skipping that puppy. But and then like this is great. Eugenia is usually really good too. So this is like Castle Craig 4 miler. It's like, oh, well, what was this one? Out and back to Castle Craig. You can copy it. You know. Now, the only thing, who was this? Oh, this is Eugenia. Eugenia doesn't put in a whole lot of information. She's not worried about the disclaimer or anything. So this is all she had. And this is what we're doing, and here's where we're going, and none of any of Bill's stuff.
Yeah.
But you put in what makes you feel, comfortable to put um, in all those situations.
Okay.
But then, so the last thing that's in here, and I don't know if they're doing this, but if you go to create an event, I can show you what's in our, because it's a crazy folder that I need to clean out. Um, if I go back to Hartford area, mm, 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 and you go to create an event, it'll say you can add a new one, generate with AI, copy a past event, or edit a saved draft. So let's say you work on something and then you're like, boy, that was really good, but I can't do it when I want to. So I'm just going to save the draft. So when I go into my saved draft folder, I got way too much stuff in here. Crescent
Okay.
Lake, gate, but you're welcome to look in here. Like clean is a great place to go. Monadnock, um, invasive species. Some of these are Kevin's things too. Sheffield, mindfulness hike. And so, um, gosh, here's one from 21. And what you can do is go into them. Let's see, and say manage it. So you can edit it, delete it, preview it. So if I want to edit, it's going to pop up whatever was put there. And then again, you can go back and work on it, maybe change the date, maybe, whatever it is you want to do. So, but if I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready to publish this, I tell it to save as a draft, it will go back to that event.
Okay.
It throws it back into that folder. Um, and that's from the main page under create an event, edit drafts or whatever. You can dump stuff in there for sure. Like I said, I'll get crazy one day and go in there and delete half of that stuff. The only thing I feel bad about, some of it I'm sure is Kevin's junk, but he's not he leads one hike a year at this point. So um but I feel bad deleting something that maybe somebody worked on. So but that's kind of the gist of it. And if you publish something and then it pops up and then you look at it and you're like, oh gosh darn, and there's something you did wrong, you can just go into, like, let's say I was at my Mount Sanford hike and I'm like, oh crud, I can go to organizer tools and I can edit event. I can also cancel the event. So let's say I wake up sick Saturday morning and I can't go. I can click cancel. It'll give me like, do you want to send your participants a message? And I've probably already written a note down in comments like, guys, I woke up sick this morning. I'm going to have to reschedule. And then I
Like,
go to cancel, and then it'll put a line through it, and it'll send a message out to everybody who was going and say event canceled. But from organizer tools is where you can do all this stuff, or even edit event. Like I said, maybe I did something loopy. Maybe I want to change the time or something. As soon as I fix whatever I'm going to fix, I go down here to save changes, and everything's good. And it's back to where it was.
okay.
So that's pretty much how to go through. But don't hesitate to click around and check stuff out, and even to go back into that calendar. I'll and even look at what's going on right now. Like, so I have April break coming up, and I don't have the time to lead big stuff. So I am going to Case Mountain in Manchester. I'm going to Colorado that week. So I've got time to go to Case because it's close. And then Easter morning, I'm going to take people to Gay City.
Okay.
Um, so those are, beginnery ones that are up right now. But yeah, like I said, you're welcome to borrow anything, change the wording, change, whatever you want to do. Um,
Okay.
whatever you want to do on there. And obviously, if there's something you're not sure about, if you want to save it as a draft and just send me a message and say, "Can you just look at this and let me know if it's good?" We can do that too.
Okay.
Just hit save as a draft, and then I can go into the draft folder and just find it and see what the
Well,
scoop is and send you feedback on it. If there's anything weird, any
perfect.
weird stuff. Right, some
Thank you
good
so
stuff.
much
Yeah,
for
yeah.
teaching.
It's like anything. It's taken me a long time to figure it out. Um, And then every once in a while they get loopy, they do some update, and we're all like, oh my God, what did they do to the meetup site? Oh, come on. And like I said, there's a weird scroll thing now. Then when I try to scroll down to see who my attendees are, I get about halfway down and it goes back to the top. And I'm like, so I just haven't had the time to send them a message and just say, I don't know what's wrong with the scroll on this, but please fix it because it's annoying to make it do that. But yeah, definitely look around, look at you and look at your schedule. Like I said, don't feel any pressure to put up anything. You do not have to be as insane as I am. And even my friends are like, how can you hike 4 days a week? Or, whenever I get into that mode of I start doing the after work hikes and stuff. Um, which are only an hour and a half. There's barely any mileage. They're under 4 miles and they're an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But it's fun because it's my only option during the week to do stuff with people. But I'll wait till after my April break, May, April, end of April, May, June. I might start them up again. So there
You actually
might
like,
be
oh, sorry, go
what?
ahead. I was
No, I'm
actually
saying
like,
there might be there even if there's destination overlaps, it's not the end of the world because I might be only doing, let's say I do Rattlesnake Mountain after work. We only go up to the viewpoint and come back. We're out of there in an hour and a half. But maybe you're like, well, I want to do that and go over to Pinnacle Rock as a beginner hike. You're gonna get different people with different interests,
yeah,
so it's
okay.
not the end of the world. But like you said, Wadsworth is excellent. Um, Chauncey Peak is excellent. I was gonna say I can send you a list, or you can also look through. You can also, if you're familiar with Bigelow Hollow, I mean, you can do a 4 mile version of Bigelow Hollow that's a beginner hike. There's ways to modify everything. Hubbard Park's a great one. Um, where else do I like? And to tell you the truth, I do have a list because I forget like where to go sometimes.
Yeah, I
So I
have
go
to,
back through the calendar.
yeah, I'm going to try that. Field Hollow is another good place for beginners. but it's kind of far. I think that was even from Macamudis. That was I forget who said it was the Oriental girl. I forget her name. Hey, May said it was really far. She came from Madison or something, right? So it's like, yeah,
Well, you know what? I mean, people live all over the state. So I do get some folks that make me crazy because they're like, I'll only drive a 30-minute radius around Hartford. I'm like, it's going to limit your hiking
yeah, not that many
a wee
hikes.
bit, and I'm pretty good just because I like to explore and go places that I'll go all over the state. So, because I'm not afraid to, travel around to do stuff, I try to, and especially too, like on a weekend, like I think I've got people, I think it's the same weekend, like I'm going to Newtown to do Pagusset and Pride and Falls, but then on Sunday I'm going to Peoples, which is all the way up in Barkhamsted.
A lot of
So
driving.
I try to move around the state and so people in different areas have different opportunities. Oh,
Okay.
Sleeping Giant just to do the Tower Trail. So there's a lot of places to go that even though somebody else might be there doing something, it's not the end of the world. You know, you
Okay.
you, you do what you're comfortable with and it'll all be good. But
Yeah.
like I said, feel free to copy whatever you want. Save your first couple ones as a draft. Send me a message and just say, I just put something in the draft. Can you look? Happy to do it. Because I think it'll be great to have some consistent beginner stuff going on. Um, and you'll get a following. People will count on the pace and trying different places and whatnot. I drive past places all the time. Matter of fact, Sessions Woods. There's a back way that I go into Sessions, and there's a park over there that Aisha and her husband Randy. I've driven by it. She goes, "Yeah, it's nice little trails to ramble on." I've never gone and tried it out, but do you subscribe to All Trails?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that to me is the best. And that's what we did during the pandemic was we got on All Trails. It's like, I don't know, let's go to Colchester. And we would just see where there were trails in Colchester and try to figure it out. The state park stuff is great. Um, 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 Devil's Hop Yard, Chatfield Hollow.
Devil's Hop Yard's good. There's you can do easy and hard at Devil's Hop Yard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just thinking all the silly places we went during the pandemic because it's like, hey, I've never been here. Let's go. Um, yeah,
There's a
there's
lot of
some,
preserves too in the area.
yeah, exactly. Those guys love that near Seven Falls in Middletown is something called Spider Weave. Lori likes to go there a lot. Um, and that's another great place to go. So there's so many cool places to go, especially if it's more of like a walking type thing. I know I had some people on my Zoom call from Mount Washington. They were like, "What do you mean we have to go to Vermont to train to hike?" I'm like, "That's where the mountains are." I mean, you gotta drive for the mountains. I mean, there's only so much elevation you can do in Connecticut. So just kind of silly. I don't know. But like I said, I'm gonna um turn this into a YouTube and I will send you the link to it. So if it helps you to see it again, to like see where I clicked around to, do it. Any questions, obviously, just please ask me. I'm thrilled to have you doing this. This will be great.
Okay, great, great teacher. Thank you so much. Appreciate the
You
help.
are very, very welcome.